Hello there, this is Bic Benedict. We're playing Dead Space on Impossible difficulty, and this is my plasma cutter only guide for the aforementioned title, And we are on Chapter 2. It is entitled Intensive Care. So, this woman here, I've trimmed this out a little bit. She gives us the kinesis module, and to grab an item, you press left trigger plus B. While holding those buttons, you can then push the object forward by pressing left trigger plus B plus right trigger. And we can use that for propelling limbs into other enemies and impaling them, although it doesn't work as well as it does in Dead Space 2, and the efficacy of the penetrations is not as good as Dead Space 2. So I would use bullets in this game and forsake the limb impales. So you can either go into this door or the door to the right. They lead to the same place, but since the waypoint marker is leading us hitherward is where we're going. So the schematics for the flamethrower, since we're only using the plasma cutter on this particular run, I would ignore the schematics because they take up a slot in your inventory and they're not anything that you can sell. So I did pick it up, and it's not that I was contradicting myself, it was just that I happened to pick it up. So this room here is going to be in lockdown once we get halfway to the other side of the room. There's some credits right there. There's some bullets over here. And that door is where we're going to go once we get all of these slashers killed who spawn over here. So at about this point right over here, it's going to go into lockdown phase. There's going to be a guy jumping out of that vent right there. So put him down. And you have to kill all of the slashers to secure this area here. Now you're seeing me use the kinesis module to grab limbs and then throw them at these enemies here. In Dead Space 2, what it would do, it would propel enemies backward and stake them into the walls at times and deal significant, excellent damage. In this game, it just wasn't the focus of the game. So just be careful here, because this is going to be a difficult project for me, and if I didn't like this game as much as I do, I would call it quits right now, because the camera sensitivity is absolutely fucking horrible. There is no way to make it go any faster, and it just kills the game. It's really sad, actually. And sensitivity is a huge thing. It really is. It's not one of the minor grievances that I often pull up. It's a major thing in this game. And I don't think it's any different on the console version, but even if it were, I'm not going to play the console version because this one looks better. This version looks better. And I've already played on the console. I want a new experience. And I'm getting one. It's just that I must not have noticed it. It might be intentional, because again, it's the claustrophobic nature of the game with Isaac so close to the camera. It's just really hard to work with, and when enemies are charging at you and you're trying to move the camera, and it's like you're rotating the camera around the entire Earth just to get around Isaac. Not that he's really corpulent or anything like that, or that he has a lot of girth to him. It's just that it is incredibly slow, and like I said, it pretty much just kills this game, and I wouldn't play it if I didn't love this game. But how something like that got past me originally was probably because I was just new to these games when I played them originally. So that's the door we need to go into. You notice it says locked. It will unlock when we kill all these enemies, and look how many there are. There's a ton of these slashes over here. So the best thing you want to do is just listen, look and listen but primarily listen. And this guy is going to come out. Look at that. See, that pretty much exemplifies how poor the stomp is in this game and it not connecting with things. It was actually pretty damn satisfying to do the stomp in the second game. And I have a guide for the third game on this channel, but unfortunately that game is very poor of a game. So we're going to go from place to place, try to just deal with what we're getting hit with head on. There is a vent in this room, in the ceiling. I didn't know about it. Open this door because I saw a slasher. That's why I said look and listen. I saw him somehow, but I didn't see that guy, and he scared the holy fucking hell out of me. And it would be kind of a novelty for me to do this live. And I know a lot of people do enjoy, of all my guides, they enjoy my Ninja Gaiden 2 live guide that I did last year. It takes a lot of work to do a project like that, you guys. I cannot tell you how many hours I labored over that project. And to be honest, I really don't like doing live projects. But for the weapon runs that I do in the future, they will be live. So just use the stasis to the best of your ability over here. And, you know, try not to waste your shots too much. And collect all the ammo here. So we now can go into the door that was locked. Not this door, I don't believe. I'm just reconnoitering this room just to see what I missed, because this was the room I believe they jumped out on me. And I had the subtitles on, but every time I restart the game, I had to put the subtitles back on. So it's one of those things where it's kind of a nuisance. So everybody's killed. There's no need to go back up there because the door is locked up there. So just go around collecting everything, and just bear in mind that when I hit the save point, I'm going to be doing my salvaging of the area off camera. So save your progress right here. Moving along then, we have quite a bit to do in this chapter. I believe this is a 45-minute chapter. So we're going to go down here now. And there was a scene with somebody getting murdered in there by a necromorph, but I went back and saved it, so I didn't have to watch it every single time now. These enemies here with the barbed tails, these are called lurkers. They shoot missiles at you, and they can be very problematic when you're in any zero-G section and you're struggling to locate them, especially with this camera, which I've been lamenting about. Just trying to locate them. The best thing to do actually is follow the trail of their missiles back to them to find them. So when you come up here, there's going to be another one right here every time, another lurker. But don't go too far down this hallway, or the other one will spawn at the same time and jump out of the glass. So I'm staying back here and not crossing that tripwire point. So when this guy is dispatched, then move forward, and the tripwire point is right as past it, right on that line, I would say, so that you can take one out at a time. So just go for their barbed tails and step on them if you need to finish them off. There is some cache over behind these structures. Occasionally, I've been backtracking in this area and have been finding line racks to use for the line gun, and also for you definitely do want to, contrary to what I said, you do want to get the gun schematic so that you can turn them into the store, and then at that point you can start getting the ammunition for that weapon. Why would we need that, you might ask? Well, we don't need it directly for weapons that we won't be using, but we can sell that ammunition, and it's you have to really play it smart when you're doing a task like this on impossible difficulty, because ammunition resources can be pretty scarce. I mean, there are a lot of hellacious parts in this game, and I just want to prepare myself for them because, like I mentioned, I've already got the achievement or the trophy when I played it back on the PS3. This guy, I didn't know the hell he was coming. But the achievement / trophy you could get for defeating this with just the plasma cutter only is called the one gun trophy or achievement, and it's not difficulty specific, so you don't have to be playing on impossible, but you should, because it's a challenging difficulty. Is it impossible? Not nearly. I mean, obviously it's not going to be impossible. It's just an intimidating thing that the game is trying to do, but it's nowhere near impossible. You know, not only is it not impossible, but it's not as hard as that is being made out to sound in the first place. So we're backtracking now. We have the thermite, but we just need a shock pad so that we can blow up the barricade and then proceed down there. So we're going to save our progress. We're going to go in here, and we're going to be facing some more leapers over here. The lights always do this ambient trick here. This guy, he's just bashing his head into the wall. Fuck him. So we'll go in here now. There's a power node. How would you say that? A power node door. There is, I think, like one room in these games. There's always a couple of rooms that aren't worth it. But the thing about that is that it's generally like 90% of the time it's definitely worth it to expend a node to go into the door, because that particular node room door will have a gold power conductor, which is 10,000. So you're essentially trading in the node for that, which just cancels each other out, because you're going to sell the semiconductor for 10,000, and that's how much the node costs. But there's other things in there too, which makes it a positive financial gain for you. So just back off here as these lurkers come, and remember to manage your stasis enough so that you can use it on these two foes. And what I'm going to do after I kill these guys is go back to the power node door. I'll just call them the node room doors. I think that's what they're called. Some of them, I think there's one that has an enemy in it too down the line. So this is actually a gold semiconductor. I pressed it a little too quickly. That's the gold semiconductor. It's worth 10,000. And I think there's a ruby one too that's worth 25,000. So there's some ammunition and a large med kit. So definitely worth it. Now I'm going to go back into the room where we came from to restore my stasis. I think it was a really good idea to have the stasis regenerate in the second game. Very, very good idea. And as you can see, I miss this plasma energy, because a lot of the times I don't even move the camera because it's such a laboring process. In that corner, that was a text log actually, and over here I missed it, but there is some line racks above this room here. This room has an enemy. He's going to come out of the vent at the top. So just turn around. It would really be nice if you can do the 180 turn, but this game does a lot of things intentionally like that, just to make it seem like you're a lot more helpless than you are. I mean, you are very, very much at the mercy of this whole situation. So these battery packs need to be inserted. We'll be doing this from time to time. It's no big deal. I like the flight in this game. I like the whole Superman A to B flying section, and not just flying around. You'll see what I'm talking about coming up. So use the kinesis module to drag this platform over here. But essentially what I like doing is I like zipping from one part of the 0G rooms to the other, rather than just using like a jetpack like they do in the second game. It's just, I like it a lot more. So watch out for that leaper in the corner there, and then just back off. Try to be pretty slow and particular and precise with your shots. Don't overshoot. You know, you don't want to waste too many rounds when an enemy is already dead. So over here we're going to have a save point, and you might notice that the conductor by the door is going to be smashed. That's because I backtracked a little bit, smashed the door, and something didn't work out, so it was out of sequence. So get this line rack right here. I think they go for like I think they go for 2,000, quite honestly. Oh, so know what I did? I backtracked and put a bunch of stuff in the safe. It's very helpful to put stuff in the safe to come back for it. And we're collecting all these, you know, these air cans and everything so we can sell them later for big time money. Okay, so I thought there was a power node in that section, but I couldn't see any. Okay, so we're gonna turn the gravity control and turn it offline. The 0G jump is left trigger plus Y, so it's the same as using. Well, no, it's not the same as anything. We haven't used it yet. So smash this, and this is what I love. I love this, and turning the camera, spinning it, and having fun that way. So when we come back into this room, then there's going to be hell to pay, because we'll have leapers. And anytime you're in a room like this and you're fighting leapers, it's tough. Whenever you're fighting the lurkers, the guys with the missiles, that's even tougher, because those missiles home in on you. So there's the shock pad.
Great.
Get the lockers.
Combine that with the thermite at the barricade to destroy it. Shit. I can hear more coming. Moving through the vents. Stay safe, Isaac.
Get the credits. Okay, and then when you come out here, you're going to be beset upon by the leapers. So it is ideal to stasis them and then shoot the incendiary cans at them. But I kind of panicked. I knew something was going to happen out here. This was the first time I got out here. I might have dealt him a little damage. But this game, it must have been groundbreaking for its time. So I think this fight's optional. It may be, but I won't be skipping fights in this game. So the main problem here is just the camera, and I'm not going to be using that as an excuse. Right there I meant to press the stasis, but I accidentally pressed the 0G boots. I'm not going to be, harping on the camera too much. I've said my grievances with it, but it really is one of the worst parts of this whole experience. And if anyone has the console version, I'm just lazy. I don't want to hook my PS3 up and try it, but I would like to know if there are, like high sensitivity settings you could use for the controller. So that would be really helpful to know. But typically Isaac is kind of a tank, kind of sluggish, weighed down by all the equipment. So obviously I knew that was the door, but watch out for this right here. These guys, I'm gonna get snuck up on a lot of sequences. I've been so into playing Metal Gear Rising that when I saw that guy, what I wanted to do was the defensive offensive to evade him. I actually just finished that game today. So what I'll be doing is interspersing these videos with the Metal Gear Rising, and then the Metal Gear Rising videos will be coming soon. Generally Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday is when I upload or publicize my videos, make them public. So save your progress right here, and we'll continue on our way. Alright guys, we're going to be moving on, hitting the save point right here. And before I go on, I do first of all, I do realize that in a lot of people's hearts, Dead Space 2 is very sacred. And what I said in the previous video about my not liking it as much as this game is just complete personal preference. I realize that as far as the progression of how the games operate, that naturally Isaac, they would need him to speak in the second game. I completely understood when they did that transition. However, when they did it, it wasn't anything that excited me. It was just, oh, okay. I expected them to do that. But as far as the gameplay mechanics, I had a blast playing Dead Space 2. And it had really good DLC entitled Severed, which I really liked. So this motherfucker right here was just about to whiplash me. Really hate that enemy. And I have decided that I almost was going to restart my campaign, because since I'll be upgrading my HP, I just don't want to be too resilient to damage. So there's a head for you. I like collecting those heads. I used to have a really good screenshot of a head floating by me in my spare room. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, these fucking guys right here. Worst enemy in the game. Such an obnoxious pest. So I might only upgrade, and I think I'll do this. I might just upgrade to the level 3 suit, because the level 2 suit right here, at this moment in time with this suit on, I'm being granted 5% armor protection. So I assume it goes up in increments of 5. So I might just stop at 10% armor protection and upgrade the HP as well. If you haven't played these games before, it's pretty brutal. I mean, as far as when you're getting attacked. I think with our current HP, one attack of an enemy will kill us. As far as some of the more dark-skinned slashers, which are more violent and deadly, those guys kill you in one shot. So what I'm going to do here is go in the door, because we have a couple of the lurkers, and it's easy to avoid their missiles if you're in an enclosed space. So there's one of them down. I just remember a lot of scenarios in Dead Space 1 just really, really challenging me. And if you missed it before, I have already cleared this difficulty with this restriction. I've done a plasma cutter guide on impossible difficulty when I had my other channel, and it was... I won't say that it was an easy undertaking, but it wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. And I think a lot of the reason was because I was tanking a lot of the damage with that tank suit, and the pun is intentional there, because you really can withstand severe bombardments of enemies' attacks. There's also some codes. I just looked up these codes. If you press the start menu, I took a snapshot of this because I don't think this is anything that you can do on the consoles. But if you press the start menu and you press XXYYY, it refills your oxygen. If you press XYYXY, it refills your stasis and kinesis energy. If you press YX, YXXY, XXY, XXY, you get 5 nodes. And then if you do X times 3, YX, you get 1,000 credits. If you do Y, X times 3, Y, you get 2 nodes. If you do X times 3, Y times 2, you get 2,000 credits. If you do X times 3, Y, X, Y, you get 5,000 credits. So I will not be doing any of that. The only thing I might from time to time do is just use the X, Y, Y, X, Y code to refill my stasis. But do not worry, I won't be manipulating that stuff at all, because if I do that, then I won't be able to quantify how extreme this difficulty is with these weaker suits. But that was just something I stumbled upon, those cheat codes, and they do work. I did use them, and then restarted my game without saving. So just watch out for those slasher enemies. So far the guide has got a pretty good reception, so I'm happy about that. Watch out for these guys falling in here. Jam-packed room right here. I want to thank I do want to thank Hazardous Echo for supplying all the names of all the enemies, even though I did after I couldn't figure out some of the names. I did go on the internet and look those up, but now I'll have the opportunity to just go back at my own leisure to video 1 and look up those names if I forget them. The minute I saw what they were all called again, it all flooded back with the memories, because I remember I must have done like 500 annotations, because it was a really long campaign for Dead Space 2 on hardcore, and I was just typing a bunch of annotations. It was a huge project. Okay, so this guy's coming out of there. And we've got pretty much an optional scenario over here, just to get a couple of, well, when I say just to get, yeah, that always hits me. Watch out for that. So what I want for this guide is to do a pretty challenging undertaking about not getting, a very strong suit. I don't want anything to be like, whenever I do like no upgrade runs, or I just don't want anything to be overwhelmingly difficult, and anything that might not might not work, because these games, a lot of the games that are out there, you can do them without upgrading, and some you can do without taking any damage. One of which is a game called Vanquish. Just kidding. There's no way in hell you could do that game no damage. So I don't like I didn't say this before, but in my mind, what I want to do is the same project, but just have the quality better, bring in a new audience, and up the stakes a little bit, have it a bit harder without that tank suit.
Hello? Can anybody hear me?
Okay, so we have a hallucination here. Also, what I've decided to do is I won't be numbering the thumbnails. I will be putting letters on the thumbnails, so that when my playlist is complete, it'll have a 3-word sentence, and I'll leave you to try to figure out why I'm doing that. It's just something I thought of, and it would be really cool once the playlist is done. So we're going to save our progress right here. Go through the door. We have some spectacle over here. And so I don't recommend using your stasis on this guy. Now, of course, at any time you can enter that code to get your stasis back. But if you're really kind of a stickler about me about not cheating, don't waste it there. But I think what I did was I realized that I would need it coming up, so I just reloaded. Okay, so this room here, you're not going to be able to interact with these enemies until the fusion that happens between this necromorph and the corpse transpires, and then the latter breaks the glass. So the best angle is over here, actually, and you want to use a stasis to try to hit both at the same time, because the bullets will go through the leg of the necromorph and hit the other one. Now, you see the winged necromorph, the one with the wings? He doesn't really have appendages, so I would just hit his wings and kind of, you know, nothing gets severed from him is what's going on there, so it looks kind of bizarre. Perhaps you could sever his wing, but as you can see, he's still intact. But that's a good way to deal with that particular enemy. That enemy animates corpses. And I got a funny comment. Somebody was saying, I was in my Ninja Gaiden guides, I was pronouncing corpse, course, and he was trying to correct me, and I was trying to tell him it's the archaic way of spelling the word corpse. Back in the days of Mary Shelley, it was acceptable, and it was probably standard to write it as C-O-R-S-E, course, which it meant what we understand today as corpse, not a legion of men like in war, but a dead body. So I find it pretty hilarious, and the irony was I couldn't correct him because he didn't have a Google Plus account, so I couldn't interact with him. All I could do is, it said, all I could do was just report him. I didn't. Why should I report him? I'm not the grammar police. So look how much damage these guys take, and one hit will kill you on impossible difficulty. So they take a heavy amount of ammunition. If you close the door on them, or you know, go too far back, sometimes they can go in a vent and meet you on the other side of that door, so they can really sneak up on you. That's typically what they do. That's how they operate. And a lot of the times in this game, I'm going to be walking around very slowly. It's not because I'm scared or tentative or worried about going one place or another. It's because of the slow nature of having to move the camera so slowly, and I also don't want to miss anything, so don't misinterpret that as me being scared. This game, it does have a lot of jump scares. Some of them do kind of scare me a little bit, but it's not really a scary game in my opinion. So that's the conclusion of Chapter 2. I'll see you in Chapter 3. Take care now.